Welcome back, YouTube. This is part 2 of our Zendikar Rising preview series. I'm Ethan from Lords Limited. I'm joined by Alex Nikolic from Limited Level Ups. We're moving on to white here. Just a reminder, we are doing commons, then uncommons, then rares. And within each of those, we are sorting not by alphabetical, but by CMC, which has been super helpful. So we're starting off here with Practiced Tactics. Single white for an instant. Choose target attacking or blocking creature. Practice Tactics deals damage to that creature equal to twice the number of creatures in your party. That's what I think.
Yeah. I mean, so what was the one from Eldraine?
Outflank. This is not Outflank.
Yeah, I think this is considerably worse than Outflank.
Yes.
Right, like, there's going to be times when you do go like 2-drop, 3-drop, play another 3-drop, leave this out, and leave this up, and it's a really nice tempo play. But just the times when it doesn't work are pretty catastrophic. Like the times I just illustrated a situation where it's good, but like the times when it's bad don't make up for that. I don't think, right? So I'm low on this card, especially when there's a few other good ways to just get in for damage, just like Tapper. There's landfall, gets you in for damage. A combat trick is likely better than this, right? I think I'm starting this at like a D+.
Yeah, I don't like this card at all.
Yeah, it's rough. I mean, maybe this is gonna play out better than like this brings up the question, like, how often are we gonna be partying, right? And how consistent is it going to be in a given white deck, right? How many of your creatures are gonna be party members? If it's a lot, if it's close to outflank, then it's good. Right?
I think outside of the multicolored green decks, it's gonna be hard to get a full party.
Right. So, like, what do you think? Like, I don't know. Let's say you have creatures. How many party members do you think?
I mean, in whatever. If this is in a white-blue deck, I don't think it's gonna be that hard. Like, I don't. I think most of your creatures are gonna contribute to party. It's just like, how often is it gonna line up that you have 2, that you don't get? Like, I need to deal 4. It's like 1 mana deal 2 is not exciting at all. And if that's what this was, like, if that's just what this was, that'd be not good.
Also, because it's doubling, it scales poorly for you when your creature gets blown out.
Right. So
like when you're outflank, like things had to be pretty lined up pretty evenly for your outflank to get blown out. You had to be like exactly, but when they kill one thing, it takes off 2 damage. Like that's a lot more, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'm starting low on this. I would not be surprised if I go up on this, but I'm gonna start this at D+.
Yep. What's next?
All right, next up we have a Resolute Strike, because this is a single white mana for an instant. Target creature gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If it is a warrior, you may attach an equipment you control to it.
I mean, single white +2/+2 is good.
Yeah, that's fine.
We're about to see how aggressive white is, but I think white is going to be on the more aggressive side most of the time. And the equipment sub-theme is not nothing.
Yeah.
I think probably the first copy of this is a C.
Yeah, the 1 mana combat tricks are generally pretty darn good. And yeah, just looking at white as a color, like everything is white is very cheap, right? Mm-hmm. So like it's going to be quite a low to the ground deck. And yeah, like it, the prerequisite for a combat trick being quite good is it's 1 mana, right? And we might have the upside of it equipping, and if we do, great. But I'm starting this as a C, right?
Yeah. Yep, I agree. Sea Gate Banneret is a 1 mana 1/2 core warrior, and it has 4 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. I'm
so upset that you got through the first white 1 drop here. All right, so
I'll let you talk about it though.
So I don't think there's a ton of go wide stuff in this set. Even in, like, there's a few things in green. There's not much white at common. Not any really. There's a few things at higher rarities.
But the set's so aggro, don't you just want a 1 mana 1/2?
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. Like this might be fine enough on its own, right? Just like having I think this card is good. Like it's not. It is probably one of the lesser 1-drops we've seen. Like it's not Chorister.
No.
It's not the one from Theros, the 1/2 Constellation one. It's not Fairy Guide Mana.
Yeah.
But 1 mana warrior, that's going to be important, I think. Right, just getting the party going early, and then having like the pump ability later. That's gonna be good. So I think this is just a C.
I'm
quite lower on this.
I'm lower on this. Yeah, I'll you're gonna pull me up to C-. I'll start there.
You're gonna give
I don't think I was gonna give it a D plus. Yeah, I don't think this card. I don't think this is a card that you're, unlike Chorister or Wayfarer, especially, that you like really wanted to load up on. Like, I just don't think you care about this card that much. Like, if it wheels, sure, you'll play maybe one of them in your white decks, but
So, I think the fact that, again, this is another intersection card with being a warrior, but also just think about like one drop into 2 drop into equipment auto equip. Then your 1 mana creature attacks for 3, right? And with your 2 power creature on turn 3, and you have a combat trick too, right? Like the auto equip equipment. I think.
But how much better is that than just like, why is that much better than just auto equipping to my 2-drop?
I think it's reasonably better because your 2-drop can attack and your 1-drop can attack too.
But that's just 1 extra damage.
That's pretty meaningful, especially when it's across combat's blocking, right? It's not so much like the damage output; it's how favorably your opponent can interact with the damage source, right? When you have 2 things coming at them, that's a lot harder to deal with, and there's more permutations there, right?
I could see this being a synergy C in some decks, but I don't know how. Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I think I haven't looked at the cards yet, so as we go through then the rest of the commons, maybe I'll walk back my grade here.
Yeah, I'm gonna start this at C. I think it's quite solid. All right, next up we have Cliffhaven Sellsword. This is 1 and a white for 3/1 flavor text warrior. Actually, that's important.
I think X1s are bad. I think X1s are bad.
I think X1s are a little bit like, I'm a little bit less cautious about the X1s than you guys were, but I still agree it's like you have to think about it, right? It's not just you're gonna get gotten at some point, but I don't think it's like Amonkhet remastered level where it's like I just want to stay away from 1-drops or 1-toughness creatures. I know you don't have that opinion.
I don't have that opinion, so yeah. I feel like it's very similar to Amonkhet for me.
Right. So it's like you have to be cautious about it, but I don't think it's like I'm not putting this card in my deck because of it. That being said, the upside of 2 mana 3/1 is not great unless I have to go do a look at the equipment again, but just maybe there's something that makes this attack pretty well on turn 3. Like if there's enough of a toughness boost, but I'm just gonna start this pretty low. I think C-. Yeah,
I'm going D+ for me here.
Cool.
Next up is Expedition Healer, 1 and a white for a 2/2 core cleric with vigilance. It has lifelink as long as you control another cleric. Now that's a 2-drop for me, baby.
Yeah, that's real nice. Especially, if the set does end up being aggressive, this card's great, right? Vigilance and lifelink are 2 excellent keywords in aggressive sets.
Yeah.
Right? Especially with equipment, the auto equip things with this, like,
yeah,
that's really good. I like this card. This could be, again, this isn't going to be a C+ in the abstract, but in your cleric, like if you're in the cleric deck, you're like, ooh, I definitely want that card, and you're going to take it like a C+, right?
I kind of just want to start it at a C+.
Yeah, just you think you're going to have enough incidental clerics?
Alpine Watchdog with upside, baby.
That's true.
Like,
Alpine Watchdog OP.
I don't know. I'm going to go optimistic C+. You're just going to
All right. Yeah, I'm going to go. No, I'll join you. If I am nothing if not optimistic, so.
Love it.
All right, next up we have Dauntless Unity. So this is 1 and a white for an instant. And it has Kicker for 1 and a white. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn, and if the spell was kicked, those creatures get +2/+1 until end of turn. All right, so we've seen
more go wide.
Yeah, it's inspired charge.
It's cool that it's a variant. It's like it's charge or inspired charge.
Yeah, the nice part about these is you can cast them early if you just want to win a combat, or you do cast it late if you want to go wide and finish them off.
This is, I think I would put this at like D+ territory right now.
I think you're probably gonna want one of these in most of your white. Actually, yeah, I would be confident that you want one of these in your white decks. Now, you're never gonna have to take it early, but just noting that you want one of these cards is important. So I don't know, you're taking it as like D+. You're gonna want to wheel this card, but I think it's important. So
what do you want me to mark you down for?
Let's go C-.
Okay. Disenchant is back. 1 and white for an instant, destroy target artifact or enchantment. I do think just again still strictly sideboard here.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna be decent though. All right, next up we have Mesa Lynx. This is 1 and a white for a cat. It's a 2/1, and it says as long as it's not your turn, Mesa Lynx gets +0/+2. Interesting.
Yeah, so attacks as a 2/1, blocks as a 2/3.
Don't love that.
Yeah, I don't really love either half of that. To be
Yeah,
honest.
even blocking as a 2/3 is not all that impressive.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a little bit annoying sometimes, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think C minus, D
C
plus.
minus, yeah, you're gonna it's gonna be one of the junkier 2-drops that you can pick up. I think it's fine, but yeah, I'd go C minus here.
Yeah. I think I do. Well, I don't know. I would. Which you like the 3-1 more than this?
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think
for
I
sure.
do too.
Especially because warrior, like,
Right.
I think
So that means this is a D plus for me.
yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I can totally buy that.
Yeah.
Oh, especially because there's like I forgot about the other 2-drop we talked about. Like, there's I think this being like if there was a lack of 2-drops, maybe I could see this.
Right, but there's
two
three.
better 2-drops
Yeah.
than this. Yeah, no, I'm not a fan of this card.
Okay. Pressure
All right.
point. 1 on a white for instant. Tap target creature. Draw a card.
Yeah, we've seen this before. It's fine.
We've seen it with prowess, but there's no prowess.
Yeah, it seems a little bit out of place. Like nothing.
There's no prowess. There's no draw 2 cards.
Equipment, I suppose, is the slight the reason.
Oh, I see.
that it's here.
Yeah,
Right.
this card is bad.
Yeah, you don't want to really.
It's like a D. It's a D.
Yeah, you might want to side it in against an opponent with multiple removal spells. Or sorry, with multiple equipment.
Equipments, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, not a fan.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have Angel Heart Protector. This is 2 and a white for a 3/2 human cleric. When Angel Heart Protector enters the battlefield, the target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Okay.
It's pretty
I like
nice.
I like this a lot, actually. Yeah, this is quite nice. Party member has your 2-drop attacking to your opponent's 2-drop. Yeah, I think this card is very solid.
Yeah, seems like a solid C to me.
Solid C. Yeah, might creep up into C plus range, but yeah, I think starting at C is nice.
All right, next up we have Core Celebrant, which is 2 and a white for a 1/4 Core Cleric. Whenever Celebrant or another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life.
Yeah, so I'm not fully decided on if the cleric deck. I think the cleric deck is a grindy deck.
That seems to be the case, yeah.
Yeah, with aggressive undertones. This is good. This is this is very similar to the sort of like the 1/3 landfall creature in green we saw, where it's just like going to gain you incremental life over the course of the game. Going to be really annoying for any defensive opponent. Or sorry, aggressive opponent.
But I do think there are big differences in that it's in a color that cares about life gain.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, that is really important, right? There's things that care about you gaining life.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm playing this outside of white black. I guess I would play it in white blue too if I'm caring about some types.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. C. I think it's.
I think it's a C. Yeah, I like C as well.
Yeah. All right. This one's gonna be an interesting conversation. So
I don't want to argue about this.
prepare for a 10-minute long segment here.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
So we got Farsight Adept. So this is 2 and a white for a core wizard. It's a 3/3. It says when Farsight Adept enters the battlefield, you and target opponent each draw a card.
Do I have to go first? Is that the deal?
Oh, I can go first. I'll talk about it, and
Go
you can. Okay, so baseline, the things to think about this card are twofold, right? You want to break the symmetry of this somehow, right? This is a powerful effect. If you just had 3 mana 3/3 draw a card when it enters, that'd be a great card, fantastic card. But of course, opponent also draws a card. To break the symmetry of that, there's kind of 2 ways to do it, right? First way is ostensibly you're just an aggressive deck that, yes, you give your opponent an extra look at a card, but you're even on cards, and you don't give your opponent the time to use that extra card. Basically, they have the option. You dig them towards better cards, perhaps, but you're kind of even on cards, and you drawing the card is disproportionately advantage towards yourself because ostensibly you have cheaper cards and you can play your hand faster, right? So that's the first thing. You want this in an aggressive deck. The second thing is if you're say a blue-white party deck and you just have multiple really powerful late game things, and you just want this as a creature that comes down, it blocks, digs through your deck, and gets to your more powerful cards, right? The other way to break the symmetry is you have more powerful cards than your opponent, so the card draw for you means more than the card draw for them. How that's going to play out in practice, who the heck knows? But those are my thoughts on the card.
I agree completely with everything you're saying. What did you think we were going to argue about this?
No. I just
Oh.
I think I just think that it's really hard to figure out, like, just by looking at this card and looking at the set, how it's gonna play.
I think
this is the biggest question mark.
I think the community at large underrates or underrates this symmetry. It's like, oh, this is bad because your opponent draws a card.
Right, exactly.
And that is not the case. And because you get to put this in your deck, or decide if you're putting this in your deck, you get to leverage, in theory, you get to leverage in your deck building the power of this effect. And the way you do that is how Alex talked about, right? Like the card behind me, Balance, is a symmetrical effect, and it is nothing. The last thing about it is balanced, right?
Right.
The card is very breakable. So what you're looking to do is break this symmetry in some way. And I think the best way to do that is curving out, going 1-drop, 2-drop this. And then you're thrilled because by the time you end the game, your opponent has 3 extra cards in their hand, and this card draw doesn't matter. I think this is a good card.
I think so too. I'm inclined to say this is quite good. Like, what do you think about when you draw this? Like, say you and your opponent are both top decking. Like, is this an awkward draw? Do you feel like this is awkward to play?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I don't think so.
Like, whatever. Yes, they get to cast their card first. I get it. Like,
right. Yeah. I think it's good. I'm gonna start C+ on this.
Yeah. Ooh, C+.
Yeah, I'm gonna hot take this one.
Ooh, I love it. I love it so much. I'm just gonna go C, but I love the C+ so much.
Nice.
Ooh. Nahiri's Binding. 1 white for an aura. Enchanted creature or planeswalker. Enchanted creature can't attack or block, and its activated abilities can't be activated. At common, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, this is nice. Worth noting, like, I think this is one of the only double colored cards that we have at common in the whole set. This is a good card, though. You do have to be base white, right? Like, you don't want your pacifism style card to be stuck in your hand until turn 6 or whatever. And, there's the whole, like, it's worse with party because it keeps the thing on the battlefield. That matters, but
sure,
it's still very good,
this
right?
is still a
like,
B-, I think.
Yes, it's still a B-. It doesn't have the type of downside that, like, say, Trapped in a Tower had. I guess so. Like, there's Into the Royal, which is pretty annoying. Black doesn't have any, like, it has a few sacrifice outlets, but in general, there's not too much that punishes this kind of effect. You really do want to look for things that punish this kind of effect, right? Because it's super contextual set to set, and that's what's one of the best, like, one of the cool things about card evaluation, and one of the fun things is, like, you look at this pacifism. A pacifism is not always a pacifism, right? And I think in this set in particular, there's not too much that punishes this. I think it's just going to be like solid removal spell. You're not going to take it highly. You are going to take it highly, but perhaps it's not the best common. I'm not quite sure. But it's still very solid.
I haven't seen a creature that I'm more haven't seen the Snare Tactician of the set yet, or like the creature that's better than the removal spell in white yet for me.
I can certainly see, I can certainly see a world where you're in the cleric deck, you're in the warrior deck, and you're going to want a good creature over this card, right? Yeah. Like, maybe a Farsight Adept was like a warrior. You take that in your warrior deck over this, but yeah.
All right, Tazim Raptor, what's this?
Yeah, so this is 2 and a white for a 2/2 flyer. So it's a Windrake. It's a bird, and it says when Tazim Raptor enters the battlefield, you may return a land you control to its owner's hand.
Yeah, I like this. This is good for landfall, good with the MDFCs.
Like, Cloud Concealer draws you a card when
kinda.
Yeah, it has I'm joking, but it has a bit of that vibe, right? Yeah. Like, if you pick up one of the dual face cards, like, that's great. Like, having another land to retrigger your landfall. You're not going to play this on turn 3 and pickable land most of the time, right? But in the late game, you're happy to do that, and you're happy to play this as a 3-drop most of the time on turn 3, right?
I mean, so far, Windrake looks kind of good to me.
That's fine. I mean,
is that crazy? It's like a C.
Yeah, I think this could be C+. I would put this at a C+.
You're going C+? All right, I like that. I think no types has got me a little down.
Right, yeah, that's fair.
All right, I hope you're on Team Ethan here with Kabir Outrider, but unlikely because no one's ever on Team Ethan. All right, 3 and a white for a 3/3 human warrior. When it enters the battlefield, target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn for each creature in your party.
Yeah, so I think it's decent. Yeah, I mean, most of the time these cards give like +1/+1. Right? Just like baseline.
Yeah, it's just like really like what about my Vigi Cleric into this? and now that thing is attacking as a 4/4. I think this is a good 4-drop in an aggro deck.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. Especially if there's especially just putting this on even on the bird, right? Giving a 3/3, or making it a 3/3. Anything with the keyword ability is pretty good. Yeah, I like this card. It's interesting to see once we get to the next card, which one of these 4-drops is better. But I think I'm Team Ethan on this one. I think maybe I'm a little bit lower on this than you are, but I'm willing to give this a solid C.
Yeah, I can see this being a C+, but in some decks. But I do think it's a great 4 in an aggro deck. Yeah.
If you go warrior into cleric into imagine this sweet curve: warrior into cleric into the 3/3 wizard into that. That's awesome. Maybe it's a little bit Christmas land.
Oh yeah, cleric, wizard, draw card. That doesn't.
Oh, yeah.
But those are just commons. That doesn't seem magical Christmas land to me.
Yeah, I like it. Okay. And this, going back to my wardrobe.
Then you're attacking for 7 on turn 4.
It's a lot, right? And
that
again, I think these curve outs are possible because of the warrior 1-drop, right? If we're looking back there,
But I don't care about the warrior 1-drop because that thing that we just looked at is a warrior.
Oh, that's true.
I don't.
That's right, well, minus a point for Alex. Anyways, next up here we have Prowling Felidar. So this is 3 and a white for a cat beast. It has vigilance. It's a 2/3. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Prowling Felidar.
I think I'm less excited about this than the other one.
It's really interesting because it kind of has that vibe of the green one with the 3-mana trampler 2/1, right? You put a counter on it, it grows. The thing about this one, vigilance makes this a real pain to deal with once it gets to 4 or 5, right? Especially with combat tricks and stuff. The problem is that it takes a while to get going. It does not block very well the turn it comes down.
Yeah.
I think the best of the best aggro decks are not gonna love this card.
Because I think even your landfall decks, in theory, I think so. They want to be aggressive, I think, most of the time. And I think in those decks, you would rather have the Outrider than this. I just think that line in the sand of, what are your 4-drops doing to help you push damage? And this just, doesn't do that. It's a really bad top deck, whereas, the Outrider, I think, often may not be.
You know what I just realized, too? This is kind of cool with... I think this is one of the only white creatures that does... Yeah, it's a white common that plays well with the green counters matters cards, too.
Sure. But I'm just trying to. So paint me a picture here of what curve you want with where this card exists and what your deck's game plan is. Because this card makes me feel like I want to sit back and watch this thing grow.
So so what I'm imagining is you go 2-drop, 1-drop into equipment, or 2-drop into equipment into 3-drop, whatever. You come out to somewhat of a fast start, right? Your opponent maybe deals with that. And as they're trying to deal with that, you have this in the battlefield, and it maybe can get in for an attack, especially with a combat trick in hand. But if it doesn't, it starts to grow really large. So while they had to deal with the early stuff, this thing comes down. They're not going to have as many creatures to be able to profitably block it. I think this card is decent. I don't love it. I think it's just a C. But I don't think this is a junker or anything.
I agree. I agree that it's just a C. But I think I'm C, and I wouldn't be surprised if it plays worse than that.
I
wouldn't be surprised if we're just nah, this is a C-.
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. I can see this one going either way, basically.
Yeah.
Right. But I'll start it at C. I think it's reasonable.
Smite the Monstrous is next. 3 and a white for an instant. Destroy target creature with power 4 or greater.
I hate this card so much.
Just in general or in this format?
I'm in general.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be just a sideboard card, right?
Creatures don't seem big so far.
Well, landfall makes them a little bit bigger than they would seem, right?
Sure.
And things like Kavir Outrider. I just hate putting these kind of cards on my deck. You can. I know there's a lot of people who advocate a 1 of this, and that's fine. But I just think you can do better most of the time.
Okay.
I would start sideboard, yeah. Next up, we have McKindy Ox. This is 4 and a white for a 4/4. It's an Ox. Landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, Tap target creature and opponent controls.
It's fine.
I like it actually.
So we saw an effect. We saw Constellation.
Eros, right? The unicorn. That was better than it looked. That played out like
this will be easier to trigger than that, right?
Yes, but the cool thing about that was sometimes you got like 2 triggers or 3 triggers sometimes, right? You're always gonna get like 1 on this one.
Yeah, I think this is maybe plays out better than it looks, but it's a 5-drop and it doesn't have good types.
Yes, yeah, I guess it's kind of like what we were talking about with the last one. I think when you get to 4 drops, 5 drops, 6 drops, the important thing is this a junker or is this a fine card, right? And unless it's a real standout, right? I think this one's just a fine card, right? It doesn't belong in the junker category.
Yeah, I think C- probably.
Yeah, that seems fine to me.
Okay, last white common here is Shepherd of Heroes. I love this card so much. 4 and a white for a 3/4 Angel Cleric flying. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life for each creature in your party.
It's a lot of life. This is a nice racing card.
This is a 5 mana 3/4 flyer, gain 2 floor.
This might be the best version of. This is the best version of this, like, enters the battlefield, gain life.
This is closer to the like Gate Angel than it is to Haven of Enduring Hope.
Wow, yeah, that's a great point.
And it's common.
I agree with that. Well, yeah, Gate Angel sometimes gain like 10, but yeah, I agree. This does feel closer to that than to Haven. I'm gonna give it a C still, but
buddy, you gotta go C+. Come on, don't. You're gonna have regrets in your life.
No, you're right. You're right. This belongs to C.
This, like, there are going to be decks. So like what's like the loose shakeout is like the arrest is the best white common. I don't know, the 2-drop cleric. But this is probably the second best white common. This card is nuts. What do you want? What do you like? You like your 1-drop over it?
I was gonna say, yeah.
Do you really?
No, I don't think so. But I don't know. I just have a hard time giving a 5-drop.
I know. But
I know I look like I'm giving it a C+ for sure.
All right.
Right. And I can be.
We'll see.
I would love to be proven wrong.
There's no way to know.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. First white uncommon here.
Yeah, so what do we got? We have Kite Sail Cleric. This is a single white mana. Oh, I got the 1-drop this time.
Yeah, there you
Core
go.
Cleric, 1/1 flyer. When Kite Sail Cleric enters the battlefield, if it was kicked, tap up to 2 target creatures. Love it. Great.
Yeah, this solves like the problem of the 1 mana 1/1 flyer of like. This is why what's it called? Fairy Guidemother was so good. It's like if when it's in your opener, great. You just slam it on turn 1 and it's going to get in for like 5 points of damage over the game. And then when you top deck it, it enables an attack, or like with Gift of the Fae, then you give something +2/+1 in flying. With this, you're going to tap down their 2 best blockers and get in for an attack. I think this is a great card.
Yeah, I think this is a C+ probably.
I think it's a C+ too. And good types, baby.
Right, yeah. Oh, I do want to address something about the last card just quickly.
Yeah.
There's little comments in chat about like, oh, it's limited. You can play 5 CMC cards, sure, but the barrier to entry for 5 CMC cards really matters still, right? Like I think it's a fallacy to say you can play expensive cards in limited. That's how you end up with really clunky decks, right? So I think you should have high expectations for your 5-drop, and mind you, that's a good one, right? But don't just say like 5-drops are good and limited. I don't think that's a true statement.
And like, unlike 2-drops, which you can never have enough of, as soon as you take your first 5-drop, then every other 5-drop that you may want to take diminishes in value because you're either you're probably you have you can play 3 of them in your deck. So you've only got you have a limited number of them that you can play, and so if you find something that's more powerful, then now you've wasted a previous pick because you're upgrading whatever 5-drop you took earlier. Whereas you could have just taken some 2 mana 2/2 with types,
And there are formats where you just don't want 5-drops in your deck sometimes. I'm not saying this is going to be one of them, of course, but just an additional thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh, this next one. Well, let me have this one, Ethan.
You got it, baby.
All right, so this is 1 and a white for a 1/1 Griffin. It says landfall. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Fearless Fledgling. It gains flying until end of turn. I like me a Fearless Fledgling.
Yeah, I think this card's great.
Yeah, I want to go like B on this one. This is a premium 2-drop.
Yeah, I'm in for B.
Yeah, very, very good. And the art's a little wonky, but
yeah. All right, we got our first MDFC for white. Kabira takedown, 1 white for an instant. Deals damage equal to the number of creatures you control to target creature or planeswalker. Whoa.
We haven't seen this before, ever. We've never seen white just reach out, kill something.
I had just shortcutted this to like an
attacker blocker.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of course this is like,
and this is an instant.
Yeah, and it's quite good. It's quite good. So we had Outnumber, I want to say it was called, from Battle for Zendikar. It was the red version of this, 1 mana. And that card was okay. It wasn't like premium or anything, but it was good. And just having this on the land as the backside makes this much, much better. I think this is a B.
At least, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, there was this effect in Gatecrash in red as well?
Oh, like Massive Raid?
1 red, yeah.
Yeah,
Massive Raid. And that card wasn't good.
That card went to phase 2, and it still wasn't good.
Yeah.
Right?
That's being 2 mana. I think, and I don't know if Massive Raid was an instant. Maybe it was.
I think it was. Yeah,
okay.
I think it was.
Anyway.
But this is still a good card.
Yeah.
It's still a good card. All right, next up we have Core Blade Master. So this is a 1 and a white for a 1/1. Core Warrior. It has double strike. And says equipped warriors you control have double strike. Scary.
Yes. Yeah.
You a bit tepid on this one?
I'm a little mad. I mean, it's got types. It's got synergy.
Yeah.
This is probably good.
This is probably good. I'm not super hyped on it, so it's fine.
C plus. C plus.
You know, I think it's C plus.
Yeah.
The scary part of this is when you go this into like auto equip makes this very scary. Right.
That's true. The thing is like the thing about equipped warriors you control have double strike is like, isn't all my equipment just going on this guy?
Well, it could go on your other warriors too, though. Like you're not 1/1 warriors. You're going on your 2/2s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah, I think
it's even front end. Front end of like half first striking, or first strike 1 power thing might even be decent, right? Anyways,
well, it can't go on my 3/1 because I'm not playing a 3/1.
Yeah,
it can go on Alex's 3/1.
Yeah, exactly.
What's next, buddy?
All right, we got Sejiri Shelter. So this is 1 and a white for an instant. It says target creature you control gains protection from the color of your choice until end of turn, and it's got to land on the backside.
Yeah, I think this is one of the worst ones, and it's still good.
I don't even think it's like it's on I think it's like the mid part of it, right? Like this is one of the ones. Well, this is nice because it's good early and good late too. Like aside from the land part, right? Mm-hmm. This is good as a combat trick early, and then good as a combat trick late. But
in a color that cares about landfall, and so maybe you still even want the land late, you know?
And knocks off an aura.
Knocks off the arrest effect.
Yeah, like gets in for the final few points of damage. I like this card a lot. I think this is like a B-.
B-, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's not quite like Feat of Resistance level, but...
Right. Next up is Sky Clave Cleric, 1 and a white for a 1/3 core cleric. When it ETBs, you gain 2 life, and it has tap. Mm-hmm. And the flip side is a tapped white source.
So this is definitely one that's, not as good if we're thinking on the scale of modality, right? It's still fine though, right? It has cleric. It gains 2 life. The cleric deck will care about that.
But what's cool? So I think about this card like I thought about Gitu Chronicler or Caligo Skinwitch in Dominaria, which is like I never wanted to play a 2 mana 1/3 on turn 2. But when the times when my opponent was like Saproling Migration on 2, I got to go, cool, I have a blocker for that. And I think that's when this is going to be good. So I do think it's nice to have in your opener, but I do think it's one of the worst ones.
Yeah, for sure.
Like cleric, good types, whatever. Like you're going to be, I think this will count. You'll think about this more as a spell in your black-white clerics deck. Whereas
and like we said, like the worst of these are still great, right?
It's still a C plus.
I'm gonna give this C plus as well. I could see this being B-, honestly.
Right.
But I'll start with the C plus as well. All right. Next up, we have Canyon Jerboa.
No. We got Allied Assault first.
Oh, sorry, Allied Assault. Oh man. Actually, oh, there we go. Yeah. Okay, so this is 2 and a white for an instant and uncommon. Up to 2 character creatures each get +X until end of turn, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Ooh, this is a good one.
Yeah, this has
Dauntless Assault, I think.
Right, synchronized strike if we're coming off of
Sure, yeah.
the Omnicat remastered. Like the floor of this is bad. The thing about this though is, like I'm like, well, if it's just +1/+1 to 2 creatures, that just seems kind of unlikely in white if you're building your deck in some sort of fashion to maximize this, which I think you should, because as soon as you get to +2/+2, or God forbid anything higher, this card is busted.
I think that your baseline assumption for the party cards should just be you have 2.
Should be 2, right?
Yeah. I think you should look at the party. Like, I think this is a question a lot of people have going in. Like, what is your party baseline? I think you should assume you have 2. Almost always when you're evaluating these cards, and like, yes, they have the floor of doing literal nothing, but so a lot of cards have the floor of doing literal nothing all the time, right? I think that if we're evaluating this as 3 mana, give 2 creatures +2/+2, that's quite good. The thing about this one is, like, if you scale it up, it's not that much better. You're likely going to win the combat at 2/2/2, right? But I think this is good. I think this is quite good. Good blue white.
This is good in the sense of, like, you need to be building your deck has to be aggressive for this card to be good, I think.
And I think the important thing is that, like, I don't think the way that the set is set up, I don't think there is such a focus of clerics or such a focus of warriors where, like, you have all warriors or you have all clerics. You're just not going to get there, I don't think. Maybe sometimes, and this card's not that great, but it's going to be like, 60% warriors, 40% clerics in your white deck or whatever, right? And so this is going to be on a lot of the time.
Yeah, I think this is a C+ for me.
Yeah, I agree with that. Great combat trick.
All right, now we're talking about the cuteness here. Canyon Jerboa, 2 and a white for a 1/2 mouse. Whenever land enters the battlefield under your control, creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn.
Scary card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little fragile, of course.
Sure.
But it's good. It's good early, good late. I don't know. This is probably this isn't the best landfall card because I think the Fearless Fledgling is probably better. But B-.
I think it's got to be at least B-. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this one's just very very impressed with this one. And it's a mouse. First magic mouse.
Is it the first mouse? That's funny.
I think so, yeah. Aside from, like, tokens from the carriage from Eldraine.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we got Paired Tactician next. This is 2 and a white for a human warrior. It's a 3/2. And it says, whenever Paired Tactician and at least one other warrior attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on Paired Tactician.
This is fine.
This is a makeshift battalion, but you don't have to... You
don't have to attack with 2 other things. Just one other thing that has to be a warrior.
Yeah, totally fine. Again, more intersection with the green counter stuff, but yeah, totally fine. Like, it's not super exciting.
Yeah, I think this is a
C.
C.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
All right, next up we have Attended Healer, 3 and a white for a 2/3 core cleric. Whenever you gain life for the first time each turn, create a 1/1 white cat creature token, and you can pay 2 and a white to give another target cleric lifelink until end of turn. I like this.
Yeah, this card seems quite not busted, but quite good. Like, it's an engine in itself. It does all the things you want it to do. It gains you life. It is a cleric. If gone unchecked, left unchecked, it just makes a bunch of creatures. And maybe like, looking at these uncommons, there's more go wide stuff than I had assumed at first. This
is
being
there?
One of them.
What makes I guess this makes tokens.
Yeah, this makes tokens. Yeah, I guess nothing else really. Okay, so it's just for this really.
This card, this cleric deck. I can't wait to see what black brings to the party. But the white clerics are doing.
The white clerics are they gum up the ground quite well. Maybe my early hypothesis of this being a fast set is a bit too hasty, but I don't know. This seems good. This is very good. I want to give this a B.
Ooh, B. All right.
Yeah, this card's great.
I'm gonna go B-, but I like the B.
That's fine.
All right, what's next?
All right, we got Amiria Captain. So this is 3 and a white for an Angel Warrior. It is a 1/1 with flying and vigilance, and when Amiria Captain enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature in your party. Good
God.
It's nice.
This card is very good.
So baseline,
it's a 4-mana 2/2.
Yeah, and it's almost going to be a 3/3. Oh,
like,
almost.
It's really not hard to make this a 3/3.
Yeah, and then
That's
past
That's
that-
good. 4 mana 3/3 flying vigilance is very good.
Right.
And then if this is ever a 4/4, like if you ever go cleric wizard this, no thank you.
Could even be could even be 5 in the late game. Like
Yeah.
that's great. All right. Yeah, I'm more excited about this card than I was on first read. I think still like B minus. I don't think I'm quite willing to give it a B, but
I think well, I guess it depends. Pack one, pick one. I think I'm taking this over the healer.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. That's close. Yeah, I think I'm taking the healer first.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna go B on this. You're going B minus.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
All right.
This is the worst named card. I think. So bad.
Did you get the joke, Ethan?
Oh, I got the joke. Ben did not get the joke.
All right, we got Journey to Oblivion. This is 4 and a white for an enchantment. This spell costs 1 last to cast for each creature in your party. Whenever Journey to Oblivion enters the battlefield, exile target non-land permanent and opponent controls until Journey to Oblivion leaves the battlefield.
Yeah, this is good removal.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm impressed with myself that I didn't say this spell casts 1 less to cost, because I always say that. So I'm just impressed with myself there.
Give me a round of applause there.
Claps for Alex.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, O-ring effects. Like, again, if we're counting this as party is 2, just an O-ring, right? Sometimes you get it cheaper, sometimes it costs 4.
Yeah, but you're like never casting O-ring on 3, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, even 4 mana O-ring is good, right?
This is a B.
Yeah, this is a B. Yeah, you have to be careful. Just there's a few disenchants running around, but other than that, yeah, just solid B.
Oh man, so good. What's the joke? Is that it's Journey to Nowhere and Oblivion Ring.
Yeah, it's 2 cards from earlier sets just that did the same thing, just joined into one name.
McKindy Stampede is the last uncommon. 3 white for a sorcery. Creatures you control get +2/+2 until end of turn. And of course, it's an ETB tapped white source on the other side.
Yeah, I like this one. I mean, like, you know, what more is there to say?
I really like the like uber situational ones like this.
Yes.
Where it's just like, oh, you mean I get to play this potentially game-winning effect for free in my deck?
Yeah, and here's the thing too, right? I think a lot of people are looking at these effects and they're saying, like, especially like this one in red, we're gonna see an
active treason, the
one,
fling.
right? A lot of these cards, like the fling exactly. Number one, they are situational effects, but when those situational effects are good, they're great. They're game-winning a lot of the time.
They win you the game.
Number two, it doesn't matter these cards cost a lot because these are going to be the last card you cast a lot of the time, right? Like, you're just going to fling their face.
On your way to turn 5, you just play this as a land.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I like this. This one's great. This B minus?
B minus, I think, yeah.
All right, awesome.
Ooh, Alex, we haven't really disagreed that much yet.
I know, yeah,
let's get the arguments going. I need the takes.
Yeah, man. Okay, next one, I'll guarantee an argument.
Okay, great. Archpriest of Iona here. Single white mana for a human cleric star 2. Its power is equal to the number of creatures in your party. And at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, target creature gets +1/+1 and gains flying until end of turn. That's cute.
Yeah, it's super solid 1-drop.
I mean, it's not that solid, is it?
It's pretty darn solid.
So it's 1 mana 1/2. It's going to grow as the game progresses. So it's probably going to be a 1 mana 2/2 most of the time.
I think 1-drops, especially white 1-drops, are going to be disproportionately good in this set. I know we've talked about this before, but
that's a fair take, I think.
Because getting your party going early and because of the auto equipment, right?
This last line of text is not happening very often.
I think it will in blue white.
No, it's really hard to get 4 creatures of different types. It's really hard to do. Outside of multicolored green party, I think that's going to be really hard.
Oh no, but blue white can do it pretty easily.
No, so let's just talk. Just relax here, buddy. So let's talk. You have 16 creatures in your deck.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Let's say you have an even split, or how do you want to imagine that this is happening?
I don't know. Let's say you're base white, so you have more warriors and clerics than you have wizards and rogues.
All right, it's fine. So then your split is 5-5-3-3.
Sure, let's say that. Yeah.
That is very hard to draw one of each of those and have them in play, and then they've also survived. It's just hard to do. It's just that's very hard to do, I think.
But in any game of Magic, you're always incentivized to make your cards do the thing. So say you have draw spells, say you have things that dig to them, say you have, stuff like that. You're going to want to dig to those cards with your draw spells, with stuff like that. Like, your goal is going to be to turn this on a lot of the time. So you're not thinking of just like what's naturally going to happen by the math. You're thinking of what your incentives are, right? And so you're thinking like, even though you're incentivized to get a full party, especially in blue-white, you don't think it's going to happen that often?
I don't. I mean, maybe you're playing the beasts, the 2/1 artifact that like count as all 4. I think those might end up being super important to even the 2-color decks that are like really like trying to have a party. But I think outside of that, it's gonna be rare to happen.
So what do you want to give it?
This, I think it's like this is still as a 1-mana 2/2, and the things you're talking about, and it's got good types. I think that's probably like C+ territory.
Yeah, I think a classic, right? There's your arguments, but we ended up on the same grade.
Yeah.
All right. Next up here, we have Luminarch Aspirant. So this is 1 and a white for a human cleric. It's a 1/1. It says at the beginning of combat on your turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control.
Yikes.
Nice. Yeah, scary card. So automatically, this is going to be a 2/2 if you want it to be on turn 2. Or it can pump your 1-drop if you have a 1-drop, or you put on a flyer. Like this, it's not quite a must kill, but it is a very quality card.
Yeah, this card is very powerful. This seems like
very powerful.
A B to me.
B, yeah, solid B.
Yeah. Archon of Emeria is 2 and a white for a 2/3 flyer. Each player can't cast more than one spell each turn. Non-basic lands your opponents control enter the battlefield tapped.
Very medium and probably affects you more than them, I would assume. I mean, it depends on the matchup.
It seems like worse than the Windrake to me.
Oh, I think 100%. Right? Like the second part is only an upside if they have the rare dual lands, and the first part, like I said, probably is more of a downside for you than for your opponent.
This is like C-? C?
Yeah, I'd go C-. Like it's 3 mana 2/3 flyer with downside, basically.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I think it's not great. This next one does not have downside. This is 2 and a white, Maul of the Skyclaves. 2 and a white for an equipment. When Maul of the Skyclaves enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. The equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and first strike and has equipped for 2 white.
Sarah's Embrace.
Yeah. So, I mean, the equip cost on there is pretty hefty, right? Like if they do kill your first creature, it takes your whole turn to re-equip for the most part. But just putting this on your like 3-drop that you've played, getting it for 5, that's a must-answer creature. A lot of times they can't even kill it. Just it's going to be hard to kill it to 5 this creature for a lot of decks. If you need it on defense, it's good on defense. This is I think just the best equipment in the set, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. I think this is probably an A-, I would say.
Yeah, I will go B+. I can't give a card like this an A-, but I like it very much.
Right.
It's incredibly powerful. Skyclave Apparition is 1 white for a 2/2 core spirit. No types. When Skyclave Apparition enters the battlefield, exile up to 1 target non-land, non-token permanent you don't control with CMC 4 or less. When it leaves the battlefield, the exiled card's owner creates an XX blue illusion creature token where X is the converted mana cost of the exiled card. Okay.
Yeah, it's not magic, it's illusion.
It's an illusion, Dad.
All right. This is good. So I think on average, this is better than, enter the battlefield. The cards we've seen like this, that when it dies or when it leaves, the creature comes back. I think on average, giving your opponent a XX is better than that. Because, when usually a smaller creature will have some sort of utility ability, and maybe you get rid of a big flyer, they get a 5/5. Like that's a little bit annoying. But these cards are usually pretty good. These cards are generally decent. I think they're a little bit overrated, to be honest.
I think this is worse than Journey to Oblivion.
Interesting. So
because that you can't interact with. And like oftentimes I mean it's tough, like getting to kill, so I exile your thing, and then you eventually like killing a 2/2 is not hard to do. Like, I can't really get this into combat, right? So it's essentially an enchantment.
Right. Well, but that's the nice part, that like it's the opportunity cost is low enough,
Right?
where the times that it's not, you can start beating down with it.
But I don't really like giving them a 3/3 when this dies, or a 4/4 is nothing.
It's not a party member when it comes back. Like that's
Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's valuable.
Grasping at straws a little bit.
I think this is like better than the arrest, worse than Journey to Oblivion in my mind.
Interesting. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah, I think I thought of this as just straight up better, but maybe it's not. I'm gonna start this at a B-.
Yeah, classic.
Also worth noting, this has the old Oblivion Ring text where
there's two separate paragraphs.
Yeah,
right?
2 separate paragraphs. So if you can bounce it, that works, right? Like they just don't get an XX illusion.
Correct.
If you cast Into the Royal on this in response to the first trigger, you bounce it.
Why? Why did they do that?
I think it's too complicated otherwise, right? Because they can't say until, right? Like they can't say like exile until, because the thing never comes back.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, B- for you?
B- for me, yeah.
Okay, cool. This next one is awesome. So this is Beladar Retreat. This is 3 and a white for an enchantment. And it has landfall. It says whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, choose one. Create a 2/2 white cat beast creature token, or put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Those creatures gain vigilance until end of turn.
Holy shnikes.
This is a nightmare.
Now that's a bomb. That's an A-.
That's it's great. Well, there's nothing more to say, basically. Like it's good when you're ahead, it's good when you're behind. It just takes over the game.
It works on its own, like all you need is lands.
Sort of has Citadel Siege-ish vibes.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Legion Angel is 2 white for a 4/3 Angel Warrior with flying, and when it enters the battlefield, you may reveal a card you own named Legion Angel from outside the game and put it into your hand.
All right,
Go ahead, Alex. Go ahead.
Yeah, so yeah, I wanted to say.
You've been talking about this for like 2 weeks.
I know. So I think most people have probably heard this either on Twitter, on the podcast, or somewhere, right? But the question is, if you open up 2 Legion's Angels, or you get past one, do you play 1 and 1 or 2 in the main deck? And I do believe that you're supposed to play 1 and 1 in the board, 1 in the main, because the times you do draw your Legion Angel and get to draw another one, that's insane. The times when you draw your Legion Angel, you play it to 4/3, that's good, but it's fine. It's just like whatever. The delta between Legion Angel and your 23rd card in your deck is probably not massive, right? But the delta between your second card and your first card being Legion Angel when you get the second copy is massive, right? Yeah. So just not that it's gonna come up much, but it's kind of fun to talk about.
So I think I give this a solid B.
Also, it's a warrior. Right. I didn't even notice that before. Yeah,
I'm in a 4/3 flyer with types.
Yeah.
So good.
All right. What happens if you get 3, Ethan?
I'd say 2 main, 1 on the board.
How about 4?
I'd say 3 main, 1 on the board.
All right.
Because each that doesn't matter. Like I'm not trying to have the game be like I draw 1 and then I find 1, but then the other one, yeah.
All right. Next up here we have Squad Commander. So this is 3 and a white for a 3/3 core warrior. When Squad Commander enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token for each creature in your party. Cool. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you have a full party, creatures you control get +1 and gain indestructible until end of turn. Hoo-wee.
Card's good.
That's a nice one. Yeah.
B+,
so,
B.
So if this is just 4 mana, make 2 1/1. Very good, right?
Yeah.
And it's more than that a lot of the time, especially, if you can be like blue-white. Yeah, B+ on this one for me. It could even get into the A range, honestly. Like, I can't imagine you're taking an uncommon over this card.
No, that seems unlikely, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
Oof. Angel of Destiny is 3 white for a 2/6 Angel Cleric as flying and double strike. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 life more than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attacked this turn loses the game.
This one makes my head hurt.
Yeah.
Just like, because we've just never seen something like this before. It's hard to make an analog to, so you really have to like think about how this is playing out in game. So basically, your opponent no longer loses life, right? You
Right.
deal them damage, they gain a life rank back. But you also get you get lifelink on your unblocked creatures. That's pretty good. But your opponent's gonna be able to attack you back in a lot of spots. So it's like kind of you break even. Like basically, actually, it's not even breaking even because if your life total is not changing, your opponent's life total is not changing. Well, I guess it is kind of breaking even. I don't know. Basically, I think this card is good. I think it's powerful. I think it is good. I'm not sure if you're supposed to play it in your aggressive decks, or this is just a control card.
I can't. This cannot be. This has to be a build around. I would be shocked if what you're supposed to do is build a curve out deck and then throw this in there.
Can you imagine getting to like 30 life and then your opponent kills this? Like that's such a nightmare, right? Like you put them, you've been trying to deal them much damage, and then there's you put all your resources in, and they're still the same life total.
I would give this a probably like build around B plus.
It's great in a more controlling white deck, which is like blue white could be, and black white seems to have sort of that bent to it.
Yeah.
Also, just like a very big blocker, but
yeah, exactly.
Not counting that for much. I think this is. I'm gonna give this a B.
Just straight up. You're not playing this in every deck, though.
Yeah, but I think the deck it's good and it's great in, and I think the deck it's not. I guess if I'm like literally not playing it in red white, then it's probably like a B minus. But then again, that gets into the weeds of like, are we talking about in the deck it belongs in, or are we talking about in the pack? Right?
Sure. That's fine. We don't need to get into the weeds.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a B.
Okay.
All right. Next up on the docket, we have Tazri, Beacon of Unity. So this is 4 and a white for a legendary creature, a human warrior, and mythic. It says this spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your party. It's a 4/6. Then it has this weird activated ability. So it's blue 2-brid, which is like hybrid mana. So you can play either blue or 2 generic mana. Black 2-brid, red 2-brid, green 2-brid. So
Did you just come up with 2-brid?
No, 2-brid's the actual term for it.
Weird. So essentially in a 2-color deck, this costs 7 to activate.
Yes, exactly. 6.
7.
Right? Because you go if you're. Oh, sorry, because it has to be white. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Yep, 7. So, and then the activated ability is look at the top 6 cards of your library. You can reveal up to 2 cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard, or allied cards from among them. Put them into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom in any order. So, baseline, this is just a great static creature, right? This is gonna be like a 4 mana 4/6, or maybe a 3 mana 4/6 on turn 5 or whatever.
Yeah.
So like you're not often activating that ability, but you are sometimes, like in late game, just 7 mana.
This card's
like,
great.
Yeah, this card is great. This is a very good card. Just on base rate, like 4/6 is massive.
5 mana 4/6 is just fine, but like you have to assume this is gonna at least cost just 4.
Yeah, I think this is almost never 5 mana.
And then if the game goes long, this is gonna just draw you cards, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a B plus.
Yeah, I like B plus as well. Yeah, it's great. It almost has that weird modality too, right? Where it's just like it's great in the early game and it's great in the late game, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I like B plus for Tazri.
Amiria's Call, 4 triple white for a sorcery. Create 2 4/4 white angel warrior creature tokens with flying. Non-angel creatures you control gain indestructible until your next turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is the mythic cycle. So this is an ETB tapped white source, but you can pay 3 mana to have it come into play, or pay 3 life to have it come into play untapped.
This one's probably just an A, right?
Yeah.
A minus maybe because sometimes you don't get 7, but like giving that flexibility grade.
Yep, this card's nuts.
Yeah, this card is very good. Like you will win a very high percentage of the games you cast this, and then the times you don't, it's just your land, and that's great. All right. We got another double-faced card here. So this is Ondu Inversion. It says 6 white for a sorcery. Destroy all non-land permanents.
Yeah, that's very expensive.
It is quite expensive. So I kind of like this one, actually. Like, I'm a known hater of rats, but I think this one's really interesting. So, man, it is hard because like you're almost never getting to 8, right?
This is it's like It's like even worse than lay claim in the sense of like lay claim you're cycling like 90% of the time. Like you're playing this as a land like 95% of the time.
Also, really awkward that like if you play this game one as a land, your opponent like knows about it, coming, like you can hold it in your hand. Yeah,
Right.
That's kind of funny. It's still pretty good though. Like if you're blue white or something, where you do have the ability to maybe get to a little part later game, quite good. Black white potentially. I don't know. This is a weird one. This is definitely a weird one, but it's interesting. I think I kind of want to give it a B minus.
Yeah, I'm gonna go C plus. I think.
Okay.
It's just so expensive.
Yeah, I can feel that.
Yeah. All right, and that is white.